Good afternoon. My name is Jake Leon. I am the Communications Director for the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services, and I have the honor of welcoming all of you to today's vigil. I would like to thank State Police Sergeant Michael McLaughlin for welcoming us with his bagpipes. Thank you for joining us today as we honor the life of Chief Brad Haas, his act of heroism, and his lifelong commitment to public safety and serving the people of New Hampshire. We are also here in support of the patients and staff of New Hampshire Hospital, our law enforcement and first responder community, and all people impacted by the tragic event that occurred on November 17th. We also want today's vigil to serve as a moment when our community comes together to begin the healing process. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Kate Atkinson, priest in the Episcopal Church of New Hampshire and a member of the Board of NAMI New Hampshire. Reverend Atkinson will deliver a blessing for today's vigil.
Good evening. Before I offer my prayer, I just want to say that whether or not you are affiliated with a religious community, I hope that you'll find these words to be a comfort to you. O God of many names and one light, we come together today to remember Chief Haas and to share our grief over his senseless loss. Comfort us in our sorrow and help us to draw strength from the loving community gathered here. Deliver us from fear and fill us with the peace the world cannot give, this day and always.
Arrived a little while
Amen.
ago. The vigil is actually just starting right away. I'm just going to step to the side so that you all can see exactly how many.
Thank you, Reverend Atkinson. Barely 24 hours ago, this event was a little more than an idea. What we've been able to achieve in one day is awesome, and we could not have done it without the support and contributions of dozens of people, organizations, and agencies. I would specifically like to acknowledge Reed Marmy Cotton for providing interpretation services, Tyler Dumont of the New Hampshire Department of Safety, Kim Murdoch with the National Alliance of Mental Illness New Hampshire, Carl Smith of the Club Soda Band for the audio system, Tom Cusano of the Nevers Band, his wife Karen, and their niece and nephew for providing the stage and lights, Best Septic Service of Concord for donating the porta potties, the City of Concord for use of the parking lot and porta potties at Memorial Field, as well as local organizations that also offered their use of their parking, the New Hampshire Department of Administrative Services for the space, Tim Scott with New Hampshire Homeland Security and Emergency Management for the traffic signs, the Concord Police Department, the Concord Fire Department, and the New Hampshire State Police, and the dozens and dozens of volunteers who have shown up when it was needed. I also want to thank John and Dave Constant of Constantly Pizza for closing their business to customers on Friday night so they could make pizza to feed 300 people at New Hampshire Hospital. As I look out at all of these people here today, it demonstrates that we are all connected and that none of us is alone. We all must acknowledge that all of us are affected by the events of November 17th. This is a challenging time for everyone. If any person finds themselves needing to talk to someone or feeling upset, our friends at NAMI New Hampshire have a support tent here to my left in the rear. Their staff and volunteers are here to help anyone feeling distressed. As well, the Northern New England American Red Cross has set up a warming tent with hand warmers, blankets, and hot chocolate. If you are cold, you will find them in the red tents to my right. Thank you for joining us tonight as we honor the many acts of heroism on display since Friday afternoon. May our shared spirit of peace and our commitment to each other serve as a moment of healing for our entire state. With that, I would like to introduce our first speaker. His love of New Hampshire, his desire to serve all residents, and his support for state agencies has seen the state through good times and bad. He brings us together during challenges and encourages to celebrate our successes, both big and small. His can-do spirit and embrace of togetherness represent what makes our state great and reflect his commitment to serving us, the people of New Hampshire. As a demonstration of that commitment, he asked his entire staff to be here today to help the organizers however needed. A small gesture with an enormous impact. Please welcome Governor Chris Sununu.
Well, good evening. It's pretty awesome to be out here and see all these folks, everyone coming together, not just 10 or 20, but literally over 1,000 people, understanding not just what will happen at New Hampshire Hospital, but the bravery, the heroism, the sacrifice, specifically for Brad. So we're going to gather here today. We're going to pay tribute to Department of Safety Security Officer Bradley Haas, who gave his life while protecting patients and staff at the hospital. His heroism in public service undoubtedly saved numerous lives that day. Commitment to public service was always a devotion of Bradley Haas and exemplified throughout the entirety of his life and of his career. For decades, through all of his endeavors, he went to work each day with the protection of the community as his driver. He died in the service of others, saving others. And if that level of sacrifice and service isn't the definition of heroism, I don't know what is. Family members of Chief Haas are present with us tonight, and we would like to express our gratitude, and the support of everyone here for that sacrifice. Our law enforcement in New Hampshire, we take a lot of pride in it. I mean, it is the best of the best. And within moments, they responded to this unfolding tragedy. To the heroic state trooper who was on site and quickly responded, we all want to thank you for your unflinching courage and your life-saving actions. I also join with all of you in sending our support and sympathies to the staff of New Hampshire Hospital, many of which are out here today. The Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Safety, all of which went through just a devastating situation on Friday, and all of which came back to work the next day, ready to provide that support, ready and knowing that it is community that gets us through these toughest of times. I guess that's what Granite Staters are. It's leaning on each other, not just leaning on a system, but leaning on each other in our most troubled times. And I think it's safe to say that in too many places across this country, we see the power of community diminished at times. It can be frustrating and disheartening, but not here. Our bond with our neighbors holds strong, especially in times as trying as these. And whether you're in Concord or Colebrook or Pittsburgh or Portsmouth, it doesn't matter. Right? That 603 spirit really does bind us together. And as we go forward from today, this isn't just one day where we remember Brad. This isn't just one day where we show our gratitude and our understanding of what sacrifice is. This has to be something that we take home with us, that we talk to our families about, right? Maybe with our co-workers who aren't with us today. But we got to talk to folks and make folks understand that it is 365 days a year that we have to hold that gratitude and that thankfulness in our hearts for those who are standing up for us. Many of which that we don't know them. We might not know them by name. We might pass them in the hallway, but they are there ensuring that our communities are safe, and in our most trying times, we can lean on each other. So to all of our New Hampshire State employees, I want to thank each one of you for your service to the state of New Hampshire, to its residents, to the Granite State is made stronger, thanks by the work that each of you do. God bless.
Thank you, Governor Sununu, for your powerful words. I would now like to introduce Lori Weaver, the Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services. Lori is our rock. She's the one who leads our department and our staff to achieve great things, and who reminds us that we must care for ourselves if we are going to serve the people of New Hampshire. I am proud to call her my friend. Please welcome Commissioner Lori Weaver.
Thank you, Jake. This one. Thank you for coming out to join us here tonight. Your presence, your support, and spirit are all a part of our path to healing. In spite of our grief today, we are grateful for Officer Haas, who gave his life protecting patients, staff, and visitors at New Hampshire Hospital, and we extend our deepest condolences to his family and friends. We are grateful for the quick and decisive action of the state trooper who prevented Friday's incident from escalating any further. I am incredibly grateful and proud of the team at New Hampshire Hospital, who have been unwavering in their commitment to providing compassionate care for those patients they serve without interruption. I continue to be amazed by the big and small acts of kindness, courage, and generosity our DHHS community has shown and been shown through the outpouring of support from our surrounding community. This truly is a testament to our resilience, our compassion, and the way we take care of each other during difficult times. We're grateful to our local mental health professionals who have been providing constant support the last 3 days, 24/7, for both our New Hampshire Hospital team and broader HHS team. Hope and unity are our guiding lights. Though we gather in grief and sorrow today, we also gather in unity and solidarity. We have all been impacted by this tragic event in some way. However, this organization and this campus have been a place of care for generations. May they also be a place of healing. We know it will take time. We also know that we can only heal together. No matter how dark it gets, I know that together we will create light as we support each other and connect as a community. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Weaver. Our next speaker represents the New Hampshire Department of Safety, including the New Hampshire State Police and the New Hampshire Homeland and Security Management. He is also a colleague of Brad Haas. His commitment to our state is unquestioned. Without him and his team, our response to the events of Friday night would have not been as effective. Please welcome Bob Quinn, the Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Safety.
Thank you, Jake. Good evening. Department of Safety Security Officer 2 Bradley Haas made the ultimate sacrifice and gave his life last Friday while protecting the patients, employees, and visitors of our New Hampshire's hospital. I'd like to begin with a brief moment of silence for Security Officer Haas. Thank you. Security Officer Haas was a dedicated public servant throughout his entire adult life. Before joining our team at the Department of Safety Division of State Police in 2019, he formerly served with the Franklin, New Hampshire Police Department for nearly 30 years, where he retired as Chief of Police. He also served as a military police officer in the United States Army from 1978 until his honorable discharge in 1981. Most recently, during his assignment with the Department's Division of State Police, Security Officer Haas has exemplified his lifelong passion for service each day by protecting those at New Hampshire Hospital, where he was a dedicated, trusted, and respected colleague. We extend our sincerest sympathies to his family and loved ones and all who have been impacted by this unspeakable tragedy. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize our state trooper who immediately and heroically engaged and stopped the threat. It is clear the trooper acted swiftly and bravely, preventing what certainly would have been additional injuries and loss of life. I'd also like to thank Colonel Mark Hall, Director of the State Police, for his leadership throughout this event. I also want to recognize Lieutenant Roy Pywell and the entire staff of the State Office Complex Police Force. I'd be remiss not to recognize the courageous and timely actions of our dispatcher, who was on duty at the time of the incident, whose decisive conduct surely contributed to the swift reduction of the threat and additional loss of life. I also want to thank all local, state, and federal law enforcement and community public safety partners who provided assistance. There are no words to express how grateful I am and how important these partnerships and relationships are during these events in the days and weeks to come. Lastly, I'd like to thank everyone who worked hard to organize tonight's vigil and those who took time to come out. It's incredibly important that we remain united as a community and work together through this tragedy. On behalf of the men and women of the Department of Safety, we mourn the tragic loss of Officer Haas and will remain unwavering in any support and resources necessary in the time of healing that lies ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Quinn, for your fitting tribute to Brad Haas and all who protect and serve. I would like to introduce Ellen LaPointe, the Chief Executive Officer of New Hampshire Hospital. As Commissioner Quinn just said, Officer Haas was a friend to all who worked at the hospital, and Ellen's presence has bolstered her staff amidst tragedy, even as she mourns the loss of a dear colleague. Ellen leads with her whole heart and has inspired us all to continue serving during this time of sadness and loss. Please welcome Ellen LaPointe.
Thank you for joining us in sharing in honor of Brad's legacy and in support of New Hampshire Hospital staff, patients, and all those impacted by this tragic event. We all knew Brad. He was often the first person we met when we came into work and the last person we saw when we left. Under his quiet, unassuming demeanor was a courageous professional who died protecting New Hampshire Hospital patients and staff. We will all be forever grateful to him and hold him close in the warmth of our memory. To Brad's family, our utmost heartfelt sympathies and prayers. Our New Hampshire Hospital is forever indebted to all of the law enforcement professionals and first responders who selflessly put themselves into harm's way to ensure our safety. The compassion you showed and the safety you thoroughly validated that Friday evening is truly something to be honored. You will forever be in our hearts, and thank you so very much. The dedicated and professional work of our New Hampshire Hospital family is nothing short of amazing. And as we move forward, the resilience of the New Hampshire Hospital staff, keeping patients safe and secure, will continue to remain unchanged. My sincere thanks to the staff members who wish to be here today, but remain at New Hampshire Hospital, continuing our mission to help citizens with acute mental illness stabilize their conditions and live their best lives. New Hampshire Hospital is truly a place where people care deeply about our mission, about our patients, and about one another, not only now, but each and every day. I'm truly honored to work with each and every individual employed there. Throughout this tragedy, there have been countless acts of humble valor and unpretentious self-sacrifice that can be captured with some of these few remarks from staff. Everyone has been amazing. I've been struck by the calm, composed professionalism I've seen everywhere by everyone. What an incredible team. A new staff member who started work with us just on Friday, having spent only hours with us, and some of them in the midst of tragedy shared. The collaborative efforts I saw between the patient mental health workers, social workers, and nursing staff while we were sheltering was great. We had a number of patients sheltering with us, and it was really great to see the genuine care and concern that they had for the patient's well-being during a high-stress event. It really affirmed my decision to join New Hampshire Hospital. We are New Hampshire Hospital strong. Our work matters, now more than ever. And I've never been prouder to walk through these doors. Our New Hampshire Hospital family is deeply moved by this outpouring of nationwide, statewide, and hometown support as we navigate this challenging time. Despite this tragedy, I can assure you we will continue to ensure excellent patient care. Rest assured we've got this, because we are strong as granite. Thank you again for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Ellen. In moments such as these, it is important to recognize that we all hurt and that it is okay to ask for help. The National Alliance of Mental Illness New Hampshire represents the voices of people with lived experience. Through their work, they help to make the world better for everyone. We are grateful for NAMI New Hampshire's contribution to today's event and their many contributions to everyone within the state of New Hampshire who is hurting. It is my pleasure to welcome Susan Stearns, the Executive Director of NAMI New Hampshire.
I am honored to be here with you all on the field that is home to our annual NAMI Walks New Hampshire. For 20 years, this field has been the site of tremendous hope and healing for thousands of Granite Staters impacted by mental illness. It is a sacred place, full of tears, love, joy, and most of all, hope. Most of us at NAMI New Hampshire know New Hampshire Hospital and its staff well. All of us mourn the loss of Chief Haas, who protected our loved ones during a time when they are at their most vulnerable, and also the dedicated staff at New Hampshire Hospital. We carry the chief and all who love and miss him in our hearts. Many of NAMI New Hampshire's 68 staff and over 200 statewide volunteers are here tonight, helping out and providing support in the tent. On behalf of NAMI New Hampshire and those we serve, I want to extend our deepest gratitude to the New Hampshire State Police, who protect our loved ones every day, and to the entire law enforcement and first responder community who arrive so swiftly to secure the facility and keep folks safe. Media coverage about law enforcement is not always positive. At NAMI New Hampshire, we are acutely aware that what does not typically make the front page is how you sit with the broken. When we experience a tragedy like sudden death, our first responders are the ones who first comfort us, who walk with us. These moments rarely make the news. Yet it is these moments that we are reminded of why we call you heroes. I would be remiss not to acknowledge the dedicated staff at New Hampshire Hospital who care for our loved ones with such compassion every day, and who continued to do so even in the midst of this terrible tragedy. You are also our heroes. You offer us hope on some of our darkest days. We were deeply moved when we were asked to help coordinate a team of peer support specialists to support New Hampshire Hospital patients over the weekend. Thanks to our staff and our partners at the community mental health centers and peer support agencies, we had 6 peers on site by 1 p.m. Saturday, and virtually the same team returned Sunday afternoon. On Saturday, when one of our peers was asked if she was up to returning the next day, she said, "Yes, these are my people." I do not think I could say it better. We are all our people. Together we must care for each other through this staggering tragedy and every day going forward. New Hampshire Rapid Response and 988 are available 24/7. You are not alone. And I know that it is absolute truth that hope starts with each of you. Bless you.
Thank you, Susan. Our final speaker is Mayor Jim Boulay. When we reached out to him over the weekend asking if we could use Concord spaces and resources for tonight's event, he never hesitated. We would not be here today, if not for the help of the City of Concord. As our community heals, we are grateful for the support of the mayor and the entire city. Please welcome Mayor Jim Boulay.
Well, good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. The past several days have been incredibly difficult for our community, and it does my heart good to look out and see so many of you braving the cold, holding candles, and gathering in honor and remembrance. I'd first like to say on behalf of myself and the City of Concord that our hearts go out to Bradley Haas, his family, and loved ones. I am deeply sorry for their loss. Officer Haas' selflessness and bravery and commitment to his state and his country will never be forgotten. I'd like to express our gratitude to the law enforcement and emergency personnel who rushed to the scene and worked to protect and provide aid to those affected by this tragedy. Your selflessness and commitment to protecting others make you the best at what you do. And on behalf of our community, I thank you for your heroic service. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize our own Concord Police and Concord Fire Department for everything that they do. Our emergency management professionals are some of the best in the country, and they work tirelessly to keep our community safe for all of us. We are incredibly fortunate to have a great working relationship with the state and the county and all levels of government throughout law enforcement. As Concord's Chief Osgood said, the coordination of effort by public safety in responding to this tragedy was flawless, and we are thankful for those partnerships. There's nothing that I can say that would adequately express the horror of what happened here last Friday night. It has devastated us all, and I joined you all in my heartbreak. I can only say that I am proud of a community that we have here in Concord. Tonight we gather together in remembrance that we are not alone, that we have each other, and hopefully find some small measure of comfort in that. This collective response will hopefully help us to support each other and remember who we are as a community in the days ahead. As we look forward, let us continue to assist and support those most impacted by this tragedy, many of whom are caregiver roles themselves, and now faced with processing what has happened. Our hospitals are more than just places to treat illnesses or mend wounds. They are places of empathy, concern, care, and hope. Tonight, we honor Concord's ongoing commitment to caring for those with mental health issues. I hope we can all work together to ensure the New Hampshire Hospital and New Hampshire campus continue to be the critically important resource for our state that it has been. Okay, I'm missing the last page, so we're going to improvise here. Sorry. It is in our darkest moments that the inherent strength and resilience of humanity is seen. Tonight, each and every one of you is a reminder that even in the face of tragedy, we can find solace, support, and hope in our collective effort to rebuild and to heal. So thank you everyone for coming and lending your support. And we will now conclude the event with a song performed by Dan Casas. Good night, everyone. Be safe and take care of one another.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we'd first begun.
So I'm still going to step on the camera and just like the sign, you know what to do. There's a thing, sign, all